Thanks for joining us today. What you're about to hear is a presentation of Hickory Grove Presbyterian Church in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. To know more about the church, visit their website, hickorygrovepca.org.
So here in week 5 of this Nehemiah study, and we'll be in Nehemiah chapter 4. But I've got students coming back at Real Life High School on Tuesday, and so I guess I have to practice now. And so you always open with review, because it's always good to assume that that my students forgot everything that I taught them, about 24 hours before, and if they remember anything, you just get to be pleasantly surprised.
What you're saying about these guys?
I don't know. Well, how about this? We'll find out. Alan, what happened last week?
Last week, the wall was rebuilt. The work on the wall started back, and they went around and had different sections and different folks had responsibility for. Some of the things they rededicated first, the sheep gate. So we start the chapter 3 with the sheep gate, and we end in the last verse with the sheep gate. So there's some significance there. Do you remember what the significance is to that?
No. See. See, this is basically how it's going to go with me and the students. No, this is the opposite of how it's going to go. They respond with the most embarrassing thing that could have happened the week before. I didn't teach, but
The sheep gate was close to the temple, so they could use the sheep as sacrifice, but I don't know if that was in chapter 3. Anyway,
Chapter 3.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they dedicated, and looking at some of the stuff, the significance of that is it was rededication to God's covenant. It points to Christ, as we talked about the gospel. This typology of Christ being the gate.
Yeah, there is.
Very nice.
John 10:9.
Well, that works out well. You remember who built the sheep gate?
The Levites, the priest,
High priest.
high priest did it.
He said,
And what that shows is that the importance of the people there was to rededicate themselves to the Lord and the sacrificial system at the time that pointed them to Christ.
very nice. Did they build the whole wall?
No, it was halfway. But as we find out today, they were building the wall under a little duress.
Oh, you're talking ahead.
They have some pretty wild names.
Yep.
Who all participated in the work? Building.
Everybody, just about everybody.
Even?
Except
Even the women.
Even the
and with some women.
Oh,
But the Zealothites or something like that.
takeaways.
Techites.
Their leaders.
Their leaders did not help. Their people helped. Techites helped. So it is.
And they don't you don't do the work, you don't get the grades.
That's right.
That's for this week.
Oh, did we turn that on? Yeah.
I did.
Okay. Hello.
I don't always remember. Hello, anyone listening to the live stream later? You can go review it later, Richard. It'll be up on YouTube if you need. Anything stand out so far? So the wall is going up. They're about halfway. This wall, it's about, at least some archaeologists, someone says it was probably about 9 feet thick. It would reach, in some places, about 40 feet high when it was all done. It was quite a project, and they're putting it together. But it's also getting taller now, and you got to think, as we said, it's going to get harder to do, and it's also becoming, the project is less new. They've had this initial enthusiasm. Nehemiah says, "Look at the shame that has come upon us." He says, let us fix this wall. God has provided. They're all building around their houses. And then it starts getting hard.
And the higher it goes, the harder it's going to get.
Yes. And the more concerns that there are going to be.
If it's like any IT project, the last 10% takes about 90% of the work.
Yeah.
Things are falling
So
apart.
you said that
Nobody's planting their crops in.
Yeah, and that's a big point. People have come from outside in this to help build this wall. Because remember, a lot of people. Jerusalem is still depopulated. There'll be a lot more on that kind of later in this book, but I mean, one archaeology record, and we don't need archaeology to verify the Bible, but there was one source I know when I were looking at it this week, suggested that, the population of Jerusalem at this point may have dwindled to about 1,500 people, which would have been a fraction of a fraction from when the original exile would have been. But you may have had, just in the area of Judah itself, could have been, 30,000, which still would have been a fraction of what the exile was. But it kind of gives you a sense if that's even approximate to true. Nehemiah has a dedicated but also intimate labor force, building this, miles long wall. Everybody around their houses.
you said the wall was, and when it was completely finished, was 40 feet high,
Yes.
9 feet wide.
Yeah.
Places, yeah.
So it
Big,
was 20
thick.
It was 20 foot tall when it was halfway done.
Yeah.
So that's still pretty substantial.
Yes.
Amazing amount of work.
I think they're using probably a lot of the stones that got knocked over before, but it's going to get harder. You've got to get it taller. That means the stones have to be lifted higher. You've got to have scaffolding, and it's going to get harder for the daughters to start pulling the stones up higher, higher, and higher. And so the work's going to get more backbreaking.
And then
yeah.
the threat of physical harm
Yes.
in the midst of it. Working with your sword on your hip
Yeah.
It's like a
or in your hand.
4 or 5 story building. That's pretty tall.
Yeah. I mean, imagine a wall. I'm not the greatest with eye measurement, but imagine a wall going from the base of the parking lot up to the top, covering these windows. Second floor up or higher. That's a big project. And otherwise it's people out doing labor. It's me doing it, Alan doing it, Don doing it. Katie's doing it, Emma's doing it. Casey's supervising. Casey, Travis is one of the guys with the sword and the iron mail. Do you want to do any more of your opening questions before you dive into this?
So based on chapter 2, what might we expect in chapter 4?
Yeah.
Opposition.
Chapter 2 was kind of let you know, hey, so in addition to being a history, it's actually a well-written story, right? So it's kind of like he sets it up. So chapter 3 is a strange one, like, just people work. Yeah, there's a lot of work as well. But we should expect some opposition to that from Nehemiah's diary. He should have opened with Dear Diary, but he did that as well. Yeah. So good. Got it. Ready to read?
Yeah, let's read.
Okay. Who wants to read chapter 4?
I can read.
Alan?
Thank you, Alan.
Use a good voice, Alan. Use your bass voice there.
Now, when Sanballat heard that we were building the wall, he was angry and greatly enraged, and he jeered at the Jews. And he said in the presence of his brothers and of the army of Samaria, "What are these feeble Jews doing? Will they restore it for themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they finish up in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of rubbish and burned ones at that? Tobiah the Ammonite was beside him, and he said, yes, what they are building. If a fox goes on it, he will break down their stone wall. Hear, O our God, for we are despised. Turn back their taunt on their own heads and give them up to be plundered in a land where they are captives. Do not cover their guilt, and let not their sin be blotted out from your sight, for they have provoked you to anger in the presence of the builders. So we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. But when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabs and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the repairing of the walls of Jerusalem were going forward, and that the breaches were beginning to be closed, they were very angry. And they all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and to cause confusion in it. And we prayed to our God and set a guard as a protection against them day and night. In Judah it was said, the strength of those who bear the burdens is failing. There is too much rubble. By ourselves we will not be able to rebuild the wall. And our enemy said, they will not know or see till we come among them and kill them and stop them. At that time, the Jews who lived near them came from all directions and said to us 10 times, you must return to us. So in the lowest parts of the space behind the wall, in open places, I stationed the people by their clans with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and arose and said to the nobles and to the officials, to the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. When our enemies heard that it was known to us, and that God had frustrated their plan, we all returned to the wall, to each his work. From that day on, half of my servants worked on construction, and half held the spears, shields, and bows, and coats of mail. And the leaders stood behind the whole house of Judah, who were building on the wall. Those who carried burdens were loaded in such a way that each labored on the work with one hand and held his weapon with the other. And each of the builders had his sword strapped at his side while they built. The man who sounded the trumpets was beside me. And I said to the nobles and to the officials and to the rest of the people, the work is great and widely spread, and we are separated on the wall, far from one another. In the place where you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us. So we labored at the work, and half of them held the spears from the break of dawn until the stars came out. I also said to the people at that time, let every man and his servant pass the night within Jerusalem, that they may be a guard for us by night and may labor by day. So neither I nor my brothers nor my servants nor the men of the guard who followed me, none of us took off our clothes. Each kept his weapon in his right hand.
You know, Al, that reminds me of Charles Spurgeon, you know, the great Baptist preacher back in the latter part of the 1800s. He had a publication that went out, who knows to whom, thousands of people. He called it The Sword and the Trowel.
Sword and Throw?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, based on Nehemiah?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's a good combo. That's a good combo. So sort of that. So we start out in verse 1, talk about Sanballat was a bit angry and greatly enraged. What are some reasons people get angry? What are some reasons that people kind of fly off the handle?
They don't agree, they don't do what you want them to do. Sometimes they're afraid.
Yeah. You can be afraid. Yeah.
What else?
I had a theory when I was working that there was a few reasons, because I've been yelled at for stuff I didn't do right. You didn't do it right, and also getting caught out. You know, where you had some information and somebody should have known something but didn't know something, or it didn't go kind of the way, like you were saying, didn't really want them to. So, so what's he doing here? Which one is he? Which one is Sanballat? He may be all those.
He doesn't want the people of Israel to come back and reconstitute the city because they will be in the way.
Could be that. There's different reasons why he would not want them to build it, but at this point, he's really upset because
He was threatening his position, his prestige, his authority, whatever else he had.
well, he's the governor and told them, hey, I don't like this, and they're like, we're going to go ahead and do that anyway.
He knew enough about what everything represented. If he didn't, who cares? Let him do it. But he knew, so he had pretty good reason to be afraid.
He wanted to be in control, and he wasn't.
Well, yeah. So what do angry people do?
They give
So
me,
they can lash out in a couple ways, right?
Yeah. They burn cars.
They burn. We'll talk about that coming up. We have that in those as well. Yeah, but they could just verbal. They could get physical. They can do that as well. What do y'all think about Sanballat and the company? What are they going to do? What's your anticipation based on this first part? What's this first couple of first few verses here? What's your expectation that they will do?
Attack and stop the war.
Think they will?
Talk the talk.
There's two interpretations, right? One is because he talked about what do we have in verse? Is it 1, 2? Yeah, we have a new player here, the army of Samaria. So he's making it look. How's he making it look? Like
He feels threatened, I guess.
maybe. How many times have you heard parents say, "You do that again one more time. You do that one more time. See this belt? You do that one more time. You do that one more time. See this belt?"
Over and over.
I think Jill
Just word.
hit the nail on the head. He wanted to be in control.
Yeah, who doesn't? Right?
What?
Who doesn't?
Oh,
power, it's all about power.
Power. Like that as well.
I mean, we'll see that Tobiah has, this will come up chapter 13, he has certain commercial interests inside Jerusalem. I mean, it's a serious threat. Like, Sanballat is the reigning, even if Nehemiah has the blessing of the emperor, of the Persian king, Sanballat's the Horonite, and that means he's in Horon, or even if he's in Samaria. Archaeology, Horon was about 12 miles away from Jerusalem. He's potentially pretty close. And, Xerxes is, at minimum, smooth traveling 4 months away.
It looks really serious, though. I mean,
Yeah.
If someone is threatening you,
Yeah.
which how do you play it? You're like, there's no threat. Someone comes up to you or your car and says, hey, I'm going to attack your car. You got to take it seriously. Even if they're not serious, you got to take it seriously. Even if you suspect they might not be, you're right. Someone threatens your family. You just gonna let that go? Say, I don't believe you. Prove it. So, but how did they start denigrating the work? How do they start doing that?
They use mockery. It's like,
Yeah. It said
look
he
at this little
jeered.
pile of burnt rubble. A fox could knock it down.
Yeah. He also had personal insults. Feeble Jews. You don't hear that often, by the way. So, that phrase doesn't come up very often anywhere. Yeah, so he's really kind of letting them happen. Yeah, and Tobiah, the fox guy, and all that. So at least they're doing a good job of trash talk.
I think there's something to be said here, sort of about persecution, because it's often mockery is often, and I say this as someone who has problems with personal problems with mockery. It's one of the first tools of opposition because it's cheap, it's all venom. You don't have to spend any resources on it,
Right.
and it also, like what Sanballat does here, it attacks certain things that would be core to the Jewish identity, and Nehemiah notes that he says this in the presence of all his brothers and the army of Samaria, as in he says all this stuff and it's designed to spread out to the merchants and get back.
Intimidate.
Like I'm saying this, but I know it's going to go like quite beyond, as if somebody goes out, in a press conference and just, happens to start talking about something, acting like, oh, I didn't know it was going to blow up like that. Well, yeah. I mean, that was the entire point. You knew where people were going to take this and run off with it. So it's like, what are these feeble Jews? Okay. First of all, you all are too weak to do this. Okay. You all broken up. There's not too many of you. You all are too weak. Will you restore it? The job's too big. It's like, you can't do it. The job's too big. Will they sacrifice? Do you all think you all can just have a few little religious devotions and that's going to make this happen? No. It's like whatever you all are doing, like it's not blessed enough. Will you finish it in a day? Do you think you all can actually do this really big project? It's way too bigger than you.
Yeah.
Attacking a lot of very core assumptions here. Will you, it's like it's too broken. Do you think this thing is actually buildable? And so we revive the stones out of heaps of rubbish. Now, like most ridicule, they already have it up to about half its height. And most ridicule is not based in facts. Yeah.
But he's trying to cast doubt on Nehemiah.
It can plant seeds of discouragement.
Yes.
Can do
Which is
changes.
devastating.
Yeah, but liars don't need facts. And a lot of persecution begins with mockery. Yeah.
You used the term trash talk. And some of you guys that know a little bit about basketball, the biggest trash talker probably in history. Larry Bird. And I'm telling you what he do? He got into their heads, get them out of their game. And that's what these guys are doing. They're trying to get in their heads. And that shows us how important leadership is and discipline.
And I think actually, if we look at the words of kind of exactly what he's saying, it's also striking at Nehemiah. Because Nehemiah comes in and says, I've got this thing from the king. I got a plan. And so he's like, oh, well, you can't. So there's actually also, besides just the people, he's striking at Nehemiah and his headship, his leadership as well.
Well, you look at the history of the Jews from Moses up to this point and everything. It's a good lesson for us. One man can make a difference because, they did face all kinds of obstacles, really from Egypt all the way up through through everything. But that just shows how important leadership is, and we think of our own church. One of the things we better be doing is praying for you guys on a regular basis.
And the next group.
And what?
The next group coming up too. The new future leaders.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Words are powerful. I mean, one side used it to discourage, and then Nehemiah came back and used his words, hey, remember God's in control, and encouragement. So discouragement and encouragement, one builds up, one tears down. So, it's just, we have to choose our words carefully.
It almost reminds you of one of the Beatitudes. You know which one?
I know all of them.
No. You know which one applies, I'm sorry. Blessed are you when men revile you and persecute you. And say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
Such was the way they treated the prophets.
No, thank you. We'll let her do the rest of next week. So that's good. So picking up in verses 4 and 5, so how did Nehemiah respond to those threats and trash talk and all that as well?
He prayed to God.
And you notice this is not in quotes, right? It's not necessarily that he prayed out loud to say that. He might have, he might not have. It's not in quotes that he said that though. So what does he say? Does he say we're gonna kick body parts and take names, or
He asked the Lord to take care of it. Asked God to take care of it.
He did. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Does it remind you of anything else in the Bible? Are there any other places in the Bible that has phrases like this? There's a certain type of psalm that we talk
Imprecatory
about.
Psalms.
Imprecatory, can you spell it?
Imprecatory.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yeah, so if a good look at the verse 4, connection with Psalm 123, 3 and 4. Have mercy upon us, O Lord, have mercy upon us. For we've had more than enough of contempt. Our souls had more than enough of the scorn of those who are at ease, of the contempt of the proud. It's possible Nehemiah had read the Psalms, but they weren't all written actually, necessarily. I mean, some of them were written in Babylon and brought back, but it's probable that he had access to a few things if he was that devout of a guy as well. And then there's a bunch of other Psalms as well. I mean, we could spend the rest of the class reading them all, but maybe we don't do that. But we do that. Let's see here. It's Psalm. If you want to read Psalm 6, not read it now, but Psalm 69 has a good summary as well. Pour out your indignation upon them. Let your burning anger overtake them. Let their camp be a desolation. Let no one dwell in their tents. And it's consistent with what we said. He didn't take and say, we're going to do this. We're going to destroy the enemy. It's like, wait, no, we need to wait on the Lord and do that. And it reminds you a little bit of David, perhaps, when Saul was chasing him, what he refused to do. He refused to kill him. He had tons of opportunities to kill him. He refused to kill him. That was not his job. And what did he do with the guy that claimed he killed him? Had him killed. Right. So, I mean, for Nehemiah to say, kind of stop and ask for this, I think it's really, I don't know, it's amazing guy to be able to do this.
But I think it's when dealing with persecution now, Nehemiah is going to have to take more action because they're going to they've got to ramp it up to stage 2. But initially, remember, he's already told them that they don't have any part in this. He's already set that for, okay, we're the ones who are deciding to do this. We are doing it. You all don't have any part of it. You all are outside. And it said, so you all don't have to be concerned with what's going on over here. And so they make fun of it, but he's already told them they're outside of this. And so he's not worried about the negative voices from the people outside. He's focused on doing the work. He prays and offers it to God, and then he goes about his business. He's like, their jeers aren't based in facts. He knows what God is doing. He has his plan. The wall's already beginning to go up. So he's not worried about the naysayers. He doesn't even feel the need to initially respond, which suggests their initial criticisms landed no blows. Which means, now, sometimes in persecution, maybe that's it. Occasionally, some of my students, they throw some words at each other and it lands no hits and they go find an easier target. But sometimes they're really mad. And if you're really mad and you can't take them on yourself, you go find other people who don't like them. And that's how we get fights in lunch in the courtyard.
You get involved in those?
Do I get involved in those? When I'm in lunch security, sometimes you have to go, all right, you angry, you go over there, and you go over there. And if you're not, I'm going to go find some people who can definitely do it. I really...
You could step in and mix it up yourself.
In the movie in my head, maybe, but...
There was a word in verse 4 that Jason and I talked about that was really kind of interesting. What did he call these people? Turn back their tongue on their own heads and give them up to be plundered in a land where they are captives. In a land where they are captives. So, it's what is that? It's kind of some extra extra thought about these people. Like, wait a minute, they're like, it's almost like he's calling them the president of the HOA. You know, often, not always, the president of the HOA is the one who's like, I'm going to do these rules because I don't have that in my own life. I don't, you know, I can't, you know, I'm not really at home or work or whatever, but I got this as well. So Sanballat and all these guys were also captives in the land. It's under the realm of the Persian king. I mean, they're the same situation as the Jews. He had a job, but they were also captives. And so he's calling that out. And he said, well, they are captives. Jews are kind of captives too, but give them up to be plundered. What's the purpose of the wall? What's the purpose of the wall of Jerusalem?
For protection, because they were surrounded by enemies.
Right, and so he's contrasting these guys are dwelling in land. We want to make sure we're safe. We need to make that happen. Oh, guys, I got you. Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, we'll do that. So he said, hey, we're captives, and I want these guys to be plundered, but we're going to do something a little bit different. It's actually almost like he believes the promises in prophecy that they're going to dwell in safety. Now, Jason stayed up all night drawing this map, so you need to give him the little.
Al, I give Al credit for the map, but
No, I thought you drew it, Wendy. They've been wrong about this. So after 4 and 5, what happened in 6? So Nehemiah, he does this imprecatory statement there. What happens in verse 6?
He goes back to work.
Keep going. He stops. He keeps on going. So, and then that got to half its height. And why was it going quickly? Why did the wall go so fast?
They had a mind to work.
Had a mind to work. I mean, that's really, it'd be nice to say that about our children, but, you know, or students, right? They had a mind to work. And the work as well. And so it's interesting that they mentioned, it's kind of a stopping point, like, and the wall was joined together to half its height where they had the mind to work. So what does that kind of imply, though, please? It's kind of like, hey, look, half a wall is better than no wall. And half a wall is halfway to a full wall. And you got to start somewhere. I mean, you're not just... So it's like, yeah, it's almost like we're on plan. We're making it happen.
And it's joined together, it's already 20 feet high, so it's gonna be hard for anybody to get through it now.
We got more to work, and then after that.
well, I think at least because it's going, there's still gaps in the wall. He's
yeah.
going to say that on, and the gates don't get up in the gates to stop people in. It's chapter. It's a couple more chapters till they get up. Yeah.
Yeah. So the map that actually found it online, set it up, did drawings. So. And that's a reference here too. Talk to Ralph at Joyful Heart. Sounds like a happy church. So look at verse 7, and then look at the map and tell us where these people came from.
Their opposition.
Opposition, sorry. Yeah. So Samaria, Sanballat came from Samaria. Tobiah came from, he was the Ammonite, right? And who else was in the picture? The Arabs were to the south of Idumea. So Idumea was the Edomites. Herod came from that group. So south you have the Arabs, and then to the west, what do you got? Oh, it said the Ashdodites. Those were the old Philistines. So what would you say about the opposition?
Surrounding them.
They're completely surrounded. So Nehemiah mentions that specifically. All these guys, they're all around us. Like,
Sounds familiar.
That does sound familiar. Yeah. And
Very angry.
right, they were angry. Why? Because So it doesn't say all the breaches were closed, but they're beginning to be closed, and like, oh, the work is.
And they plot together.
That thing, maybe that's.
And if there's something else I think about Satan's use of persecution, it brings people groups sometimes together just because sometimes they don't like Scripture. These were all conquered people by the Persians. Many of them have history warring against each other. But they come together like, oh no, here comes Judah again. We can't let this happen.
Ooh,
I know it reminds me in Mark 10, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Herodians all come to question Jesus and trick him at the same time. The only thing those three groups of people have in common is they don't like the guy they're coming to question. Any other time, they would have bickered like crazy. And they wouldn't have wanted to be in the same room with each other.
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And verse 8 was fun too. They're coming together. But what does verse 8 kind of give you a sense of that's different from when Sanballat was talking at the very beginning in the army of Samaria? It says, verse 8 says, and to cause confusion in it. Didn't say, hey, we're going to wipe it out. It's like, oh, we're going to cause confusion.
That's just, sometimes just as good.
It could be.
There's no,
It reminds me of the group that Richard talked about earlier. You didn't say my name. We talked about Antifa, kind of burn things and cause. What's going on? Is it an open warfare with the army that we have out there in the streets in these big cities? No.
Your next stage, mockery doesn't work. Move on to rumors and hinted criminality.
Yeah. Low-level criminality.
Yeah. We can't openly march against them because of Xerxes, but a wall's still down. We've got lots of people. It's depopulated. Lots of people moving around.
Things happen.
It's like, yeah, industrial accidents.
Nothing's bad. Take that.
And this has some blows. I mean, here Nehemiah has to start responding. And I know, Al, we're starting to run out of time here a bit. But yeah, and so we get this verse 10. In Judah it was set. And so whatever's going on here, these rumors come around from all sides. So here what they start saying. The strength of those who bear is failing, okay? So the people start talking. It start getting hard. It's like, oh, we can't do it anymore. Our strength is failing. We won't be able to do it by ourselves. Or then our enemies are going to come. And then they'll get us. We won't know where they come. They're going to kill us. So we start worrying about other people. And then 12, the Jews who lived near them, as in the Jews outside, this would be some relation, families, other clans, people, other tribe people say, yeah, it's like, it's too dangerous there. You all need to leave and come back. We're worried about us. Come take care of the harvest. You must come back. And Nehemiah says, they said this, verse 12, they said this to us 10 times. Now, that doesn't mean that Nehemiah said they literally came and delivered this 10 times. What this means is like, they wouldn't stop. It was like all these other Jews that didn't come in. They were like, hey, all of you in there, you all need to get out of there. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. And so we have this, everybody's failing. They're going to come get us. And then all the outside families saying, you all need to get out of there. All this plotting, all these rumor making, and all these honestly seriously worried about people coming in to hurt them. Now, what I find about this, and Al and I had to talk about this, is I think this is sometimes an amazing thing about how God even uses persecution in the work of the enemy. Because what they do is a couple things. They all end up rallying together. Nehemiah takes half of them. He puts weapons in half their hands, and then the other half work on building the wall. And some of that we read suggests that, and then they just sleep around the exposed places in the wall to protect it, which means they're really incentivized to get this wall done. And all this persecution that Sanballat's doing on probably is a really big incentive. The wall probably starts going up even faster and even better. And then they really get their organization and security put down. And then probably what they start doing, since half of them are building and half of them are now on guard, they probably take shifts. And so if your strengths are failing building it, you're only building half the day, and the other half you're on guard for the attack that never comes. Because you're guarding all the exposed places. And Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem are left to look at as the wall now continues to go up at an increasingly faster pace.
I thought we told them to stop.
And they're looking at an armed populace within Jerusalem. Those were working.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you're presuming that they were serious about attacking, then it felt like the guerrilla warfare type stuff, the Antifa stuff that sounds probably serious. And so, but then that, if I'm a bad guy looking to attack and I see a bunch of guys with swords, I'm thinking, they might not get all of us, but they might get me. Maybe I don't want to.
They're not a lone target anymore. They seem very prepared, and you're like, okay, this is now involving. It's basically saying, all right, you all want to attack us, you're going to have to come do it in the open.
Yeah, we're ready.
And a lot of evil does not like getting exposed. It wants to be able to do things silently, to blame things at other places, but that's because they've gotten their organization and their duties and their focus down. And the wall goes up even, honestly, faster. And Nehemiah, where does he put himself in this? Right in with the middle of people. He sleeps with them. They all just wear their clothes all throughout the night. So they get up, wall, go to sleep, after wall, done. And then the whole thing is done in under 2 months. Miles of wall. And I think, it's... And I realize, like we're not sitting around here, like, building walls. But I find, like, it's kind of like, I'm reminded in Acts, like, it's when the Pharisees and Sadducees, that they send out Saul to go out and persecute the early church all throughout Jerusalem. And they're like, all right, we are just going to kill this thing. It's like we killed Jesus. We got to kill Peter. We got to kill John. We got to kill them all. It's like they start persecuting the church, and it ends up, and they spread them outside of Jerusalem. And they're like, that's it. We did it. No more. And then it just explodes. It's like the whole thing. Just they got pockets. They got communities. They got churches going all over the place. And I find an amazing thing. It's like, if you don't think we serve it, so often God uses the works of the enemy, and that's just one more of his pieces. It's like he is not surprised. And he's like, y'all getting tired? Don't worry. All the laborers, you're going to get half the day off coming up here. Why? They're going to threaten to kill you all. All of you are getting a break, and the wall's going to get up even faster. You're all going to be done even sooner. Then all of you, and all of you all outside in the family who didn't come help, they're going to be back a couple months sooner now. And Sanballat's like, he was like, he was worried about his reputation before. Not only with Xerxes, maybe now he looks like, now he's got the Ammonites. He looks like a fool. Same with Tobiah. They're all like, they couldn't do anything.
That's not what I thought.
Yeah.
So I know we have like a couple minutes here, but at the so it's interesting that he talked about God protecting them, but they also had the swords and the shields and all that as well. So it's like we're trusting our God to protect us, but He doesn't just necessarily let us stand there and do nothing. When they took the land of Canaan, they didn't just do nothing. God still protected and led them. So He's still counting on God rather than protection because technically they could have been overrun as well. One thing they would also discuss was the ending of this. So verse 23, so neither I nor my brothers nor my servants nor men of the guard who followed me, none of us took off our clothes. Each kept his weapon at his right hand. The version that we use as right hand, many versions have it translated differently. they have each kept his weapon at the water. So that's the literal translation, kept his weapon at the water. And so even when we go down to get water, we've got our weapon. Who in Scripture does that remind you of, having a weapon at the water? Gideon. So what did Gideon do? What was the story? They conquered an army against overwhelming odds. Right? Just had like only 300 guys and tens of thousands of folks in the opposing army.
Which I think, there's a lot of flash forwards, I think, to things that are present in Scripture and things that are back there surrounded just like they would at the exile. And you have Nehemiah with, honestly, a building force probably close to what Gideon had to, destroy the Midianites. But, it's the ready men and women who are building this thing, even while some of the rest of their nation is like, oh, you all can't do it, we're scared, but, they do this for the glory and shows God is fulfilling his promises. Now, more things still have to happen. There's more persecution to come. In the end of chapter 4, it's still not finished. But, I kind of like, and I'll just credit Al for the end of this notes, the people had a mind to work. They were dedicated to this. They were focused. And they're also taking this a day at a time. And I think they're not getting too bogged down in the details. And they realize they have to kind of just keep putting one brick on top of the other. And that eventually, as you say, as you kind of put here, if you don't start, you'll never finish on anything. Half a wall is still better than no wall. And half a wall is halfway to a full wall. And the idea is focus on what they need to do for God, what they are about, eliminate the distractions, but then when they have an actual problem, they pray about it, and then they take action. They don't ignore it, they don't pray about it without taking action, and then they don't run around doing actions like crazy, but at least coming together, praying about it, looking to some leadership about it, and then doing something with it. And I think there's something there for all of us sort of in our daily Christian walk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here thinking that in the face of persecution, in the face of the unrighteousness of the spiritual warfare, we have to keep building. We have to have that single-mindedness as church, as a family of God, to continue to build his kingdom right here.
Ultimately, opposition is not the problem. It's on some level, it's our response to it through God's providence. Any other closing thoughts? I want to pray us out.
Okay. Father, we thank you so much for your word, for these examples in scriptures, and we ask that we have the faith of Nehemiah, the diligence of the people, that as we continue to build the walls of this church, the walls of your kingdom here, that you give us, again, faith and diligence and a mind to do the work. And Father, I'd also like to lift up family of Jason's friend, and that you give them comfort today and beyond the loss of their loved one. And just thank you so much that he is now in the arms of Jesus. In the name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
This has been a presentation from Hickory Grove Presbyterian Church in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Please feel free to share this content with others. We only ask that you not sell or alter it in any way. If you'd like to know more about the church, visit us on the web at hickorygrovepca.org. hickorygrovepca.org. Thank you so much for listening. May the Lord be your glory, and may His glory be your joy.